See, I'm back on my... See, I'm back on my bullshit. Ayy, see, I'm back on my bullshit. Came a long way from school, bitch. We them niggas been banging and walking with full clips. Pocket filled with them blue strips. All I hang with the silent, can't fuck with no loose lips. If he ran, cut him loose quick. If a fuck nigga try, bet his ass make the news quick. Hit his ass with these blue tips. But these niggas won't shoot shit. Cause these peons ain't stepping how my niggas stepping. Walk them down, but that teach them a lesson. I been kicking shit cool and got paper like Messi. Bitch, I'm Zion, yo old nigga Reg. She say that she love how my big ass be dressing. How that Audemars go with that neck. My features are dub, my shoulders a blessing. I got paper, I ain't doing no stress. The one who put all this together, that gave me something good and I made that shit better. Turned up the knife, my watch changed up the weather. I'm bigger and better, shit bigger than ever. Thought they was running shit, I had to catch him. He tried with some funny shit, shoot it, go stretch. I ran up some money and never got selfish. I'm solid, I put my whole team on the blessing.
Tony calls.
See, I'm back on my... See, I'm back on my bullshit. Ayy, see, I'm back on my bullshit. Came a long way from school, bitch. We them niggas been banging and walking with full clips. Pocket filled with them blue strips. All I hang with the silent, can't fuck with no loose lips. If he ran, cut him loose quick. If a fuck nigga try, bet his ass make the news quick. Hit his ass with these blue tips. But these niggas won't shoot shit. Cause these peons ain't stepping how my niggas stepping. Walk them down, but that teach them a lesson. I been kicking shit cool and got paper like Messi. Bitch, I'm Zion, yo old nigga Reg.
What kind of berries do ghosts like?
Blueberries.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was just not good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Brand Coverage. I am Brandon Carney alongside Pat Gustafson. Please don't mind the large pink phallic object in the middle of your screen. We are continuing to experiment with some things for audio and for mic purposes.
Well, I guess anything can be if you try hard enough.
I mean, this would be a challenge for most, I would say. Maybe not for you.
Give me a break.
Maybe not for you if you just, get in a nice wide stance. But, folks, we've got plenty to talk about today. It is the May 13th, Wednesday edition of Brand Coverage. Obviously...
AKA nothing is happening.
I was going to say, obviously,
We're 1 day early of the full schedule reveal.
I'll probably say this for every show for the next 2 months, but we are in that part of the NFL offseason where not a ton is going on. However, we do have a decent amount. And then, look, what am I if not an entertainer who is able to shoehorn some segments in, some topics and have some good fun today. So after we get through the news of the day, including, NFL schedule stuff, but also some contract stuff, we are going to do a breakout players draft for this upcoming fantasy football season. Players that we think are going to break out who haven't yet. Some guys who are going in kind of the later to mid rounds of your fantasy drafts. Then we've got a blind ranking, which Pat has concocted for me, and a keep 3, cut 5, which I have concocted for him. We vaguely know the topics of these things. Obviously, we do not know any of the players or anything that are going to be involved in those segments. Should be just an absolute fucking disaster, so it's going to be a great time. First things first, Pat. NBA playoffs we haven't really talked about, so just give that its due for a couple of minutes here. It's been an interesting one so far. And I gave a finals prediction 2 weeks ago, I think. Both of my finals participants lost in the first round. It was the Nuggets and the Celtics. So, and to be fair to me, that was the 3 seed and the 2 seed in their respective conferences. Mm-hmm. So, not like I was going out on a huge limb here, but nonetheless.
I was a wuss that had Thunder Celtics, but it really just made me sad to see the Celtics go out so early, man. all of those fans, they missed their clan meeting for the game, and then they still lost. Just very, very sad. Very sad news.
Oh, no.
But it's unfortunate being a Lakers fan, because sitting there watching those games, just knowing that, like, hey, there is nothing they can do.
Yeah. They're just out.
Luka,
they got talent mobbed.
They played very
talent
well.
Mobbed.
Especially Game 4. They played very well.
Yep.
And no chance. The Thunder are just so good.
Dylan said Lakers in 9.
Yeah. Oh, good call.
Keep it going.
So it was difficult to watch in the sense that you knew that, like, they weren't winning it. And the Thunder are so enviable because they ethically just built the biggest wagon you can imagine.
Well, ethically built and then not ethically executing on the court,
I guess
because
Shea,
it's
yeah.
horrific, the foul baiting and such. But yes,
logging,
they did build that team.
They
just
traded.
shout out Paul George.
I was going to say I have never seen a
single-handedly.
team trade someone at the highest peak of their value, and it continues to reap the benefits. Thank God they only have the 14th pick this year, because if the lottery gods somehow gave them a top 4 pick, I think they would have just shut down the league.
Yeah.
But, and, you know, they're talking about, like, oh, should they go after Giannis? And it's like, fuck no, because their team is perfect.
No, you don't mess with
this. Their team
this.
is perfect the way it is.
You've got AJ Mitchell playing like one of the best players in the league right now on a 3-year, $9 million contract.
Is a second round pick, just
like,
one of the many. And the thing is Sam Presti hasn't always hit. You know, Ousmane Dieng was a lottery pick, drafted Şengün and then traded his rights to the Rockets. So, like, things could almost be better here. But yeah, they're just so good. I don't want to say that. Well, I don't see them losing to San Antonio, conceivably. Maybe San Antonio gets a game.
Yeah.
But the Knicks look really good. But again, is it going to be good enough to just be the ultimate fucking wagon?
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's like, my physical therapy has first take on it. It was like, is the Thunder's dominance good for the NBA? And it's like, it's better than, like, the Warriors, who go out there and pluck Kevin Durant, things like that. I'd rather a team like this, where it's just this team just built a juggernaut from the ground up, rather than some super team dominating the NBA. But yeah, it'll be interesting for the Lakers. I don't know if LeBron is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I doubt it. Personally, I don't think...
Because, well, the thing is...
LeBron does not strike me as the type to go out quietly like this. I mean...
Well, no, I don't think he retires. I think he might walk.
Oh, away from LA.
Because he's a free agent.
Yeah,
I mean, well, it would have to be a... Because the only thing is, the teams that you really hear about him, Golden State, Cleveland, New York, those teams are kind of in cap hell. So it would have to be some kind of sign and trade.
Yeah.
I would like them to trade him to the Cavs and bring Jared Allen back. That would be my ideal situation there.
Cavs getting fleeced in that scenario.
Well,
IMO.
they need money. They need to get rid of money. What are they going to do, get rid of Donovan Mitchell?
No. I mean, James Harden needs to fucking kick rocks at this point.
That's what I mean. Those guys all need to sign...
Cavs may win this series. I mean, I'm talking like they look so bad the first 2 games, but that series is tied up now, so you know.
And shout out to 76ers as well. I did not expect this from them, especially with Embiid just feeling like taking games off here and there. So
clubbed in the second round, but great effort in the first round.
And Spurs, huge win last night for the Spurs. I watched most of that game.
Yeah, Wemby not suspended after trying to murder Naz Reid, send his head into the 7th row, but nonetheless. I mean, I'm rooting
Shout out Stephon Castle, baby.
I was going to say.
3 fouls in the first half, still managed 17, 4, and 6.
I'm rooting for the Spurs.
Dog.
I would love to see the Spurs take down the Thunder in the next round. I think that's going to be kind of the money series of the whole playoffs. Not that the finals and Eastern Conference finals won't be good as well, but that is the series that I think everybody's kind of got marked on their calendars. So,
what do you think about your boys? An interesting Jokic getting in his feelings a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean,
just a I'd say overall a disappointing way to go out.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets are gonna undergo quite a transformation this offseason. I don't know what exactly that means. It's gonna have to involve trades. They are also in cap hell.
And the biggest thing is they need to sign Peyton Watson. Peyton Watson's a free agent.
Yeah, I'm worried that that's not gonna happen.
It seems like they would have to get rid of probably Cam Johnson, because I don't think anybody would want Christian Brown for what he
Cam
has on the
Johnson,
books.
I think Aaron Gordon's on the block a little bit. I think Jamal Murray's certainly on the block here.
Wow.
I mean, I think
coming off the best year of his career, I understand that.
Yeah,
would be tough.
no, I know.
It would be tough to trade the guy who finally becomes like a top.
He
10
did, but then
player
in the playoffs, it was kind of underwhelming. So,
which is where he's usually at his best.
Yeah, he kind of flip-flopped it this year. I don't know. Look, to be honest, as long as they keep Jokic, which they've already said, and obviously you would hope is a given, are going to do.
Bro's not going anywhere.
I just, they need some change. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm just disappointed that Cam Johnson worked out the way it did, because I thought that was going to be just a fantastic fit, replacing Michael Porter Jr. I thought that was such a
just for Michael Porter Jr.
perfect fit in the offense. But then even that, I'm still not mad they let Porter go. I'm just upset with how it turned out.
Yeah,
so.
Johnson, he got better as the year went on, but I mean, at the beginning of the year, he looked fucking lost.
Yeah.
Out there, he's not used to being on a team with so many good players, where he was more of a role guy than one of the top 2 scorers like he was in Brooklyn.
Yeah, well, now he's heading to Guangdong to play with the fucking Tigers. So,
No!
all right, let's get into the NFL news of the week.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world tonight.
So, first things first, no replacement refs, which is great news. The NFL, and NFL Referees Association have reached a 7-year collective bargaining agreement. No replacement refs will be inbound this season. Also, as part of this deal, the NFL is creating a bench/developmental pool of officials that can potentially be called up if active referees are underperforming. So, this just reinforces something that I've said for a long time, that when it seems like refs are rigging games or are crooked, sometimes refs are just bad. And the NFL is aware of that. And now, when we see some of these blown-ass calls, we can potentially get some new guys in here. And, and that's the kind of accountability that we need to have for these officials. And the NFL recognizes that, so all good things.
Obviously we've seen a lot in baseball this year with the new ABS, but like I will say to my grave that 95% of umpires and officials are out there to get the call right.
Yeah.
Some people like to insert themselves in the situation or turn things into a spectacle sometimes. But those guys are out there. They're doing their job. At the end of the day, when you do your job, you try to do your job as best as possible. And sometimes they make bad calls.
Yeah.
They make
it's
bad
going to happen.
calls.
Happens in every sport, everywhere.
But at the same time, like with the ABS, we've also seen just how good MLB umpires are as well. As because you'll see some of these pitches where they're challenging, and they'll be like, wow, the umpire got it right by a quarter of an inch. It's like, holy shit. So, a little more accountability there with that. And, again, I think officials want accountability. Yeah. I think they want accountability. And, Jim Joyce, no Jim Joyce slander allowed in this.
Poor Jim Joyce.
Jim Joyce was a phenomenal umpire and an even better human being. Google Jim Joyce. He saved the Diamondbacks clubhouse attendant that had a heart attack.
Oh, really?
He performed CPR, and he had an incredible strike call. It was like, strike! Yeah!
Oh, that was him!
Jim
my
Joyce.
God. I still have that in my head as if that's like something that other umps do, but apparently that's just him. That's good to know.
We shout out Jim Joyce, made a terrible mistake, owned up to it immediately.
Yeah.
He could have just been, had Joe West done it, He was on Ken Rosenthal's podcast yesterday. He's low-key fucking hilarious, but as you might expect. But officials, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
very,
good.
very good.
Anything but those replacement refs where we did get the infamous Fail Mary, which, it's one of those things where you're kind of glad it happened, so we can look back on that and say, hey, we don't want these replacement refs for this reason and this reason only.
Yeah. All right, let's see if this works.
Here we go.
I think it's working. I think we just can't hear it. We've got some money being thrown around, folks. Look, for better or for worse, Breece Hall is staying with the Jets. And it is a 3-year, $45.75 million deal. Makes him the NFL's third highest paid running back in the league. So all this past season of, talking about him being a free agent and all these ideal landing spots he could go. I know we floated around him possibly going to the Chiefs. Obviously, that ended up being Kenneth Walker's landing spot. Breece Hall's a Jet, and he's sticking in New York, and it sucks, and I hate it.
Look, again, he must be all right with it.
He's definitely all right with it. It's not a poor Breece Hall situation, because Breece obviously made this choice. He's making good money, all that stuff. Doesn't seem like he actually wanted to leave. It's just unfortunate. We, as fantasy players and as fans of the game of football, we want to see talented players be in the best positions possible to show off that talent. New York is decisively not that place.
I hate to do Aaron Glenn like this, but you got to think, hey, maybe Breece Hall will have a shot with a new coach next year.
That's true.
I hate to do Aaron
true.
Glenn like that, but there is a possibility
That's true.
that the Jets bring in one of these young offensive gurus to try and save the franchise. And then in that case, yeah, but at the end of the day, Breece Hall is still an incredibly talented bell cow, but definitive starting running back.
Big load
and
back.
For that reason, he obviously does have fantasy value, but yeah, it would have been much cooler to see him ball out in like Kansas City or Seattle or what have you.
Yeah, he does have fantasy value. I mean, I am curious to see where he falls in the rankings, so I'm going to pull those up really quick. 2026, obviously a little too early for these rankings, but where does Breece Hall fall, and do we think it is a
40.
good spot? All right, he is at 40. He is Let's see. He is at 40. He is the RB17. He is below the likes of Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, and Javonte Williams. He is above the likes of Travis Etienne Jr., Bucky Irving, Cam Scatterbo, Travion Henderson. I don't mind this spot for him.
I was going to say there's some guys above him that I like Hall better, and there are some guys below him that I inherently like them better.
Yeah, I think below Breece looking...
Is there some kind of Bucky Irving problem going on this offseason, or like his injuries?
Yeah. I mean, the latest on him is... it's just been some buzz out of camp, but A, he's not fully healthy yet and not practicing, and B, there's been a good amount of talk of Kenneth Gainwell and just being involved in the pass game, and that's going to be a problem. Because that's one of Bucky's big strengths was adding that pass catching on top of the between the tackles stuff.
Sean Tucker, come on down.
I mean, hey, you never know. So yeah, I think I'm kind of out on Bucky at this RB19 range right now. But yeah,
still a lot of time.
Certainly a lot of time.
Nearly 3 months till the season starts.
Yeah. But looking at Breece Hall, like I definitely prefer Travis Etienne below him, even with the news of Kamara probably coming back next season.
I think I agree.
I like Cam Scatterbo better than Breece Hall. Not by a lot, but by a little bit. I like Breece Hall better than Travion Henderson. I like him better than DeAndre Swift. I like him better than Quinshon Judkins. I'm pretty high on David Montgomery for this year. I think I'd take Montgomery over Hall. And Tootin is just a... Taking Tootin over Breece Hall, I think would be irresponsible in every sense of the word. But I might do it anyway.
Again, we saw HN be really good after us kind of saying this was a make or break for him. You know, is he a fraud? Turns out he wasn't, and maybe that's just Liam Cohen and what Liam Cohen should do. And again, they brought it. You know, we'll talk more about Tootin inevitably in our breakout player.
What do you mean? How do you know? He's not above.
How do you know
he's not directly above my head.
How do you know Bran is not taking him 101?
This is like the NFL draft with Mendoza. Everybody just knew that he was getting taken. This is like the NFL draft every year with the number one pick. Everybody just knows who it is for months in advance. That's what our breakout draft is with me and Tootin. So, stay tuned. Stay tooted.
Another guy that we kind of been talking about being available on the market. Not quite sure why is Jawan Jennings.
Yeah.
And he goes to the Vikings for 1 year, up to $13 million, $8 million base. Obviously, this comes off as a prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Is Minnesota the place to prove it?
Minnesota!
When you've got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah,
was his market just that barren?
I guess the market was that barren. Because, I'm with you. Like, it's easy to sit here and say that the Dolphins were a better fit, that the Raiders were a better fit. We don't even have confirmation that those teams were interested.
Well, exactly.
So, like, we can't sit here and say he should have gone to those teams because he would have been more involved and he would have, been able to prove it more. So, I feel like maybe he saw this as the best spot for him among the teams that actually were interested. And, again, assuming he didn't have an opportunity to go be a 1 or even a 2 somewhere, like, this is probably one of the best places that he could go be a 3. Just in the Kevin O'Connell's offense, this has been a good system for a couple of years now. They're getting a quarterback upgrade in Kyler Murray, even though that's still not, the highest end of quarterback that you could possibly be playing with. All that to say, though, I am surprised. I am very surprised that he was not able to get more money, that he was not able to get a bigger role somewhere. I tweeted jokingly, I was like, the man just yearns to be a wide receiver 3. Like, he's with the Niners for so many years, and constantly it's like, this guy's great every time he gets an opportunity to prove himself. So why, when he's finally a free agent, is he not going somewhere that he can have that more full-time role? Because it's not like he's always a wide receiver 3. We've seen him have to step up for the Niners in these spots as their 2 or even their 1 at times. So it is definitely odd. Essentially nukes his fantasy value for redraft without any injury to Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison. As long as those 2 are healthy, he is not going to be a factor in your leagues, not even as like a flex kind of guy. I have seen some people saying wrongly that he's going to be the wide receiver 2 over Addison.
We saw a lot of good stuff out of Jordan Addison.
You guys gotta get your head checked if you think that's the case. So no, I'm not sure who you think Jordan Addison and or Jawan Jennings are as players, but you've got them very much confused if you think Jawan's coming in here on his $8 million base contract to play above Jordan Addison, who is, one of the more talented wide receiver 2s in the league, and he's going to remain a wide receiver 2. So yeah, Jawan Jennings goes somewhere that sadly he's not going to be a fantasy factor. I mean, we were talking about him as a possible value late mid-rounds if he went to a team with a ton of vacated targets. The Vikings have no vacated targets outside of what Jalen Nailor was doing. So welcome new Jalen Nailor. Was Jalen Nailor a consideration for you guys last year in fantasy? I guess maybe briefly because for whatever reason, J.J. McCarthy had eyes for Jalen Nailor and only Jalen Nailor for a while.
I do too now.
Move this slightly out of the way.
It was blocking my
you can't have that. So, yeah, I'm not expecting anything out of the Vikings wide receiver 3, but hey, Jawan Jennings has a home now, and that's all we can ask for. We'll see when these other receiver dominoes start to fall. Stephon Diggs has been cleared of any wrongdoing, so we assume he'll probably be signed sometime soon. Tyreek Hill's market's been slow. Keenan Allen's probably just going to be a Charger or retire, and we'll see.
Brother, can you please stream faster? I love that's one of those my boy Kyle just got here. Can you restart?
What does that even? Can you please stream faster? What does that mean?
It's not Los's stream, brother.
What does that mean? You want me to run in place while we're talking? I don't know what you want.
And another guy off the board now, which definitely has ramifications on our breakout draft, is the Chargers signing David Njoku.
Yes.
1 year, $8 million. This pours a lot of water on the Oronde
Gadsden owners. That's their live Oronde Gadsden owner reaction. So
I think he would have been a guarantee to be picked in our breakout player draft.
Probably.
And he got in the keys to this the whole time. We talked about it briefly beforehand, that obviously David Njoku hasn't been the healthiest guy recently. He may have lost a step as well, but he's still David Njoku. He's a very established guy, very good player, also fits the former first-round pick moniker. And again, I don't think it necessarily kills Gadsden's value, but man, had he been the guy there, it would have just been so easy.
Where is Mr. Njoku? I know
you missed him. He was like 21.
Is he farther up? Oh my
27.
God. 27. Okay. So David Njoku. Let's just take a look at his stats the last couple seasons because we know who we want David Njoku to be, but he's not always who we want him to be. So this past season, it's a matter of if you think this last season was kind of the beginning of the end or not, right? Like, if you look at his numbers, he finished as tight end 32. He only played in 12 games. This is crazy. He finished tight end 11 in 2024 and only played in 11 games.
That was the Flacco fetish.
And also
Flacco loves that guy.
And also, I think it's important to keep in mind with tight ends that the barrier to entry for what looks like a good positional finish is pretty low. Like,
1 or 2 big games.
If you're tight end 11, nobody was leaving you in their lineup all year long. Yeah. Like, they're just not. You are better off streaming, trying to find a guy who could potentially finish as tight end 5, 6. Like, Harold Fannin, I think, finished as tight end 5 last year, and that was a guy you got off waivers. So you're not, to say, oh, this guy's good because he finished as tight end 11 2 years ago. No. Basically, anything that's below tight end 6, you're not like, oh, that guy's awesome. So, yeah, it's look, the NFL, there's been a lot of reports out there, a lot of analytics being done about the trend toward 2 tight end sets. A lot more teams are doing it. We expect the Chargers to do that quite a bit this year, especially with Charlie Kolar in the mix as the blocking tight end of the mix. Yeah. So here's my take on this as far as Oronde Gadsden goes. For those of you in dynasty leagues and such, don't worry about it. Like, yeah, this might lower his ceiling a little bit for this year, but long term, I still really like the talent of Oronde Gadsden. For this year, I'm not taking this as a death sentence to Gadsden. I think Njoku 29. He's 29. Is he going to turn 30 this year, or is he already? Has he already had his birthday in this year?
No.
Where are
He's
you?
29. He's
29.
Turn 30 right before me.
Turns 30 in 2 months. So we're going to enter an age 30 season for a tight end, which isn't anything crazy, but he has battled injuries regardless of age the last couple seasons. I just think Gadsden, this is almost to me an opportunity to get Gadsden cheaper now.
Sure.
Looking at Fantasy Pros consensus ranks, which almost certainly have not adjusted for the fact that they've signed Njoku, but he's tight end 10. He's behind Dalton Kincaid. Assuming he drops a little bit behind, and I would kind of expect him to drop behind the likes of Kelsey, Isaiah Likely, maybe even Jake Ferguson. I'm interested. I think the upside is still there, even though Njoku's here, because I think there's a non-zero chance that Njoku's not much of a factor on a weekly basis.
Could always get hurt again. Knock on wood. It's like look at those games we were looking at. A lot of seasons of 11, 12 games. He could very easily not be healthy, and it gives Gadsden a chance. And then once he gets that chance, maybe he could run away with it.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about Gadsden. It's definitely not a positive for him, but I'm not jumping off the train either. Random little piece of news, could be nothing, could be something. Kevin Patullo, who is now the Dolphins pass game coordinator, let it slip that Devon Achane might currently be hurt. He was doing an interview where he said it's going to be really exciting to get him out there once he's healthy and ready to roll. So, this is the season. This is the season of injuries that we are unaware of and only find out after the fact. And it seems like Devon Achane could be dealing with one of those. Could be nothing, could be something. Just want to put it on you guys' radar because it did fly under mine until I saw it on Reddit this morning.
And the good thing is that, once again, it's May 13th.
Right.
We've got
plenty of time.
A lot of time.
Plenty of time. And I mean, we are talking about the guy who I was fading in drafts last year because of a tendonitis or whatever he had. He had a strained calf heading into the season last year, and that was a week before the season started.
And then he was remarkably healthy.
Let alone 4 months before the season started.
Healthy and productive.
We're not worrying about that just yet. Aaron fucking Rodgers. Still don't have anything concrete on the guy. Sounds like he's coming back to the Steelers. Whoop-de-doo, it's Groundhog Day again. I don't care.
Again, I think it's better for the Steelers to have him than the likes of Mason Rudolph or Drew Aller.
Sure.
But I'm so fucking sick of this guy. Like, this guy is... If his name was Joe Schmo, he would be Jacoby Brissett right now. Like, we just would not care about him. This guy was, granted, one of the best peaks we've ever seen from a quarterback, in the last decade. That ain't it anymore.
Yeah.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. I'm just so fucking sick and tired of this guy. Like I said, I think it's better for the Steelers. I think he's a better option than what they have.
Yeah.
Just, why are we still doing this, man?
Yeah, it's definitely run its course. So I'm not going to give it any more breath than that. It's also the time of year that we're getting little sort of blurbs on how guys may or may not be used this upcoming season. Now, it is worth keeping in mind that this is the time of year where rookies are going to be talked up, more than anything, because the rookies are the ones in camp and doing stuff. One of those rookies, Ted Hurst, which is paired with a little bit of news on Emeka Egbuka. Just to get this on your radar as well, the Bucks are talking about Emeka Egbuka being the true Z receiver for that team, which essentially means he is going to be the guy that is in the slot in 3 receiver sets, and then it moves to the outside for the 2 receiver sets, which is the ideal fantasy situation. So
you
Emeka,
want to be out there, man. You want to run routes.
You want to be out there, and you want to be moved around the formation more than anything. Those guys that get relegated to one spot or another usually have a bit of a tougher path to production. So Emeka Egbuka, who is already a guy that I was excited about, a sort of, it's weird because he was a rookie last year, but sort of a bounce back year in comparison to what his second half was last year, because he started so hot. This is a guy that I am certainly going to, overlook the injury plagued second half of his season, and I'm just going to put the chips in on Emeka Egbuka, especially with this news, because why not? And then you've got Ted Hurst, who, this is kind of interesting. They're talking about him as a true X receiver for them. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to start, right? That could mean that he is just an X receiver when he's on the field. It's a little bit hard to buy that he is just going to jump the line in front of Chris Godwin and in front of Jalen McMillan.
Yeah.
McMillan's a little easier to buy, but in front of Godwin, it's hard for me to envision a world where the Bucs 2 receiver set is not Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin, even though you may not have the most traditional sort of body types for those slots.
Yeah.
Ted Hurst being the guy that they envision more as that big X receiver. So, but it is interesting to hear them talk about him at this stage because Ted Hurst is a guy that was definitely not a priority in our minds as far as the rookie receivers go, but guys emerge all the time that weren't priorities. When we talk about rookie receivers, fucking Puka Nacua came out of nowhere and became literal God and Jesus himself. So worth keeping in mind. No, not Hitler. That is our news and notes for today. Now, we've got NFL schedule news. This is just to run down a bunch of games that have been released already ahead of the NFL's full schedule release tomorrow, which I'm always excited for because it gives us those gold social media drops. It's the social media team Super Bowl, and they always have a lot of fun with how they reveal their team schedule. But we do have a bunch of games announced already. So week 1, we have 3 games announced. We still don't know what the very first game of the season is going to be. We think, the rumor is Seahawks-Bears as the first game on Thursday Night Football, which would be a banger. It's going to be Seahawks versus somebody. But what we do know, week 1, 49ers will play the Rams in Melbourne, Australia. Australia? How do you pronounce? I don't know.
Crikey!
I don't have an Australian accent. Crikey, mate! That's Brock Purdy! Brock Purdy is going to be in the what's Australia known as? What's their nickname? Down under.
Down under.
Brock Purdy's going down under to face Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. So we got a fun divisional matchup out there week 1. Then we've got the Cowboys at the Giants on Sunday Night Football. They opened up on, I guess it might have just been a regular week 1 matchup. No, it might have been Sunday Night Football. 3 years ago, 2023, and the Cowboys won 40-0. So let's hope we don't get a blowout like that. Although for fantasy, that would give us a lot of juice for at least the Cowboys players. Like a little bit more back and forth juice, little dual wielding juice, because the Giants do have Malik Neighbors, Cam Skadden, but we want to get those guys involved. Isaiah Likely, Jackson Dart, but a fun divisional matchup on Sunday Night Football nonetheless. The primetime games always seem to be set up pretty well for week 1, and then after that you start to get your ickiness, mostly because the teams themselves start to fall apart once you hit week 9 and week 10 and you're dealing with fucking Kenny Pickett starting games for no reason. Also week 1, Monday Night Football, we've got the Broncos at the Chiefs. So talk about a huge divisional matchup. One of those teams is going to start the season 0-1, and that is going to be devastating. I am also tinfoil hat on here a little bit, and it could just be the NFL being hopeful that this will be the case, right? But do you think they'd schedule the Chiefs for Monday Night Football if they didn't think Patrick Mahomes was going to be ready?
Yeah. I mean, no.
I
think see where you're going.
I think they have at least a lean. It doesn't mean they know. It might just mean it's a strong bet. And this game, quite frankly, would still be very interesting if Justin Fields was under center, just for nothing else than the novelty of what the fuck is that going to look like. But just, got the gears turning a little bit for, Mahomes hopefully being ready week 1. Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields would definitely be what the fuck is going on if we saw him in an Andy Reid offense week 1 in primetime Monday Night Football. No doubleheaders for Monday Night Football, which is wonderful news. Remember that. That is going to be a big deal this year. Week 2, we've got the Lions at the Bills on Thursday Night Football. Banger matchup. Week 3, we've got the Ravens at the Cowboys in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. We'll see if Lamar Jackson's immune system can survive international travel. I'm not overly convinced that it will. We might be getting some Tyler Huntley or some Joe Fagnano action out there. Could you imagine UConn alumni and legend Joe Fagnano with a primetime start
Don't you
in
mean
Brazil?
Diego Pavia?
No, I don't mean 4'6" Diego Pavia. Week 4 kicks off our trio of London games 3 weeks in a row. We've got Colts at Commanders. Week 5, Eagles at Jags. Week 6, Texans at Jags, because we always have to leave the Jags in London for at least a week because that is their true home, as we know, and it calls for them. Week 9, we've got the Bengals at the Falcons in Madrid. Joey Burrow is going to shit down the Falcons' throats there. Week 10, Patriots at Lions, Munich, Germany. Tempted to go. I've never been to Germany. I've never been to Europe, but tempted. Keep that in mind. Week 11, Vikings at 49ers in Mexico City. Week 12, Eagles at Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Those are just the little nuggets of scheduling info that we have thus far. Obviously, we're all just starved for football around here, folks. So seeing matchups actually get put on the calendar just gets me all hot and tingly. I'm tingly down under, Pat. That's where I'm starting to get tingly down under, just like the 49ers and Rams are going to be in week 1. So that's just how I feel about that. All right, let's get into our breakout players draft. So, Pat,
I need to say one thing. The
Yes.
Trailblazers owner has threatened to relocate to Kalamazoo, Michigan. With Kalamazoo, he just casually said it. He goes, you get Nashville, Austin, Kalamazoo. If Portland doesn't take us seriously, and it's like, what are they going to be called? The Derek Jeters, the Kalamazoo Derek Jeters.
I've always said that if the NBA was going to expand anywhere, it should be Kalamazoo, Michigan. I've always said this, so the longtime listeners to the channel will know. I've always been a proponent
for NFL expansion into Gary, Indiana. So
I didn't suggest that. It's just what they were doing. It's what they were working on. That would have been really funny, though. Okay, breakout players draft. We're going to go back and forth talking up the potential breakout stars of this fantasy football season. Look, obviously, as the offseason goes on and as the season approaches, we're going to be talking about the biggest players, the biggest factors for this upcoming season. But where you really win your leagues is these middle and late rounds, finding the guys who break out, who are just absolute league winners. And these are our best bets for those, as far as guys who, this isn't going to be a rookie-focused thing, because those guys can win you leagues as well. There's going to be guys who we just think are going to take that next step. So, with that said, with the first overall pick,
gee, I wonder who he's gonna take. Ooh.
With the first overall pick in the breakout players draft, hailing from
Duval,
weighing in at a whopping I don't know pounds and I don't know height, we have Bishop Tuin, baby! Toot!
Well, you got the pitch right there.
I mean, I'm a train horn at heart. Listen,
Hey, yo.
again, everything, we've talked about it on the show many times, everything has broken right for Bishop Tuin this offseason. It has gone from kind of a meme of Bishop Tuin being that guy who analytically we thought was a really good prospect, and we just wanted to see get that opportunity. Now it's turning into something that actually could mold into reality. Like, I've talked up a guy we mentioned earlier, guy like Sean Tucker, right? Talked up him a lot as well. The guy, for the life of him, just cannot earn a commitment from his own team to act, or from any team, to give him the sort of workload that would allow him to be fantasy relevant, that would allow him to be a star, even though in short spurts we've seen him be elite. Bishop Tuin, that's not the case. And heading into just year 2 in the NFL, in this ascending offense that we love so much under Liam Cohen, under Trevor Lawrence, who finished as the fantasy QB3 last year, Bishop Tuin's going to have a real opportunity. The only guy standing in his way is Chris Rodriguez. And look, could this go the way of Chris Rodriguez leading the backfield instead and Bishop Tuin being the complement? Absolutely. It's called a range of outcomes for a reason. However, if I am putting my money on anything, it's going to be on the guy who has the more elite talent profile, who was actually drafted by this regime. I know Rodriguez was signed by this regime, but the guy who was drafted by this regime and the guy who has been talked up by this regime at every turn, not just as a between-the-20s guy, not just as a third down back, but as a goal line back as well. I think Chris Rodriguez is certainly going to be involved, but if I got to pick here, I'm picking Bishop Tuin, and the guy's going, I want to say, in the 70s or so right now. Let me locate Bishop Tuin. So 65 overall ADP currently, and for a guy that I think has as much RB1 sort of breakout potential as there is, that is absolutely a fair pick in that range. He's above a guy like Jadarian Price, Carnell Tate, Justin Herbert, Jalen Warren, Marvin Harrison Jr., Chuba Hubbard. Absolutely prefer him to all those guys, so an appropriate rank. And then you look at the guys who are above him. I do like Roma Dunze quite a bit as a sort of bounce back, breakout candidate this year as well. So that's who's right above him. But then you've got Tyler Warren, DJ Moore, Tucker Kraft coming off the injury. Don't love those kind of guys. Quinshon Judkins, Christian Watson, DeAndre Swift. I would take Bishop Tuin over many of these guys, and I see him as a prime breakout candidate for 2026.
I feel like he was the obvious choice. we talked about it briefly earlier, where it's like, excuse me, that, you know, they went all in on him. They had every opportunity to go and bring somebody else in, and they didn't. They bring in Chris Rodriguez, who was a clear downgrade from Travis Etienne. So, yeah, toot motherfuckers. Let's do it. Toot.
All right, Pat. Who's your first pick for the breakout
So
players
mine
draft?
is also kind of an obvious one in the sense that I feel like his ranking has basically made it clear that everyone believes he's going to break out. So much so that he's top 3 in his position. I think Colston Loveland here is the obvious choice, and I think he's still fair for a breakout because he hasn't fully done it yet.
Yeah.
He had a great end of the year last year, also in the playoffs, but we didn't see him
Playoffs?
a full true, consistent performance. The guy's a tight end 3, and I think that's very appropriate. The fact that that's happened from a guy that we haven't quite seen yet. I love Colston Loveland this year, just as it seems like everyone that ranks fantasy players does.
Yeah, I think this is, to me, the most interesting storyline for fantasy football this year is the Bears and their pass catchers. Because one of them, at least, by season's end, we're going to look back at and say that guy was the odd man out. And we don't know who that's going to be. Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, Colston Loveland. All incredibly promising talents. All guys who have shown flashes. Honestly, the guy who's shown the least flashes is Burden, but rookie last year, was hurt to start the year, brought along slowly, and then DJ Moore gets kicked out the door. So he is going to step into a lot of opportunity. I don't know where I'm going to fall on these 3 guys, like which one I'm going to have the most faith in, which one I'm going to have the least faith in. I think the most fun bet right now is Luther Burden because of just how dynamic of a player he is, the comparison.
Saw him going very early.
Yeah, that's the thing too. The comparison of him being Ben Johnson's new Amon-Ra, because that sort of archetype, very comparable between those two. But Rome Odunze was awesome before the injury last year, and then Colston Loveland showed flashes last year as well. I feel like, as much as I like Colston Loveland, I think he's going to be the one I'm lowest on. Just by a little bit. I don't know why, and that's not to say he's going to be bad. But I'm just not sure. We've talked about it how many times, Pat? Top 2 target on the team.
Yeah, sure.
Not that he's not going to be. He could be. He absolutely could be. This is a dice roll of which 2 of these guys is going to lead in targets. And honestly, it's probably going to be kind of a negligible difference by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, but that lends itself to, is tight end 3 too rich? If that's the case. It's going to be interesting to me. I like Colston Loveland as a
talent. The way I
talent.
see it, though, is that positional value does play a factor in here.
It does.
Maybe he may not produce as much as Luther Burden and Rome Odunze. Even if that's the case, the fact that tight ends, don't grow on trees at this point just goes to show that, he has a ton of value, and this could be a really, really fun offense. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm sexually excited.
All right. Tingly down under. We've got, Pat,
I wonder who you're going to pick here.
No, you have no idea who I'm going to pick here. Trust me.
Sure.
You have no idea.
Sure.
You don't. If I did it once, Pat, twice is nice.
Duval.
I'm going with Parker Washington.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
This is, look, you probably weren't glued to my X feed this morning, but I fired off a tweet about the Jaguars wide receivers because, Pat, consensus ranks right now have, and I considered going with this other guy for this as well, but he's kind of mini broken out, and it's Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers and Parker Washington are the wide receiver 40 and 41 right now. Tell me the last time you saw an offense that we think is going to be as good as the Jags offense is, and knowing, sorry Brian Thomas truthers, knowing that one of those guys is going to be the wide receiver 1 for that team, and they're in the 40s. I'm taking Parker Washington because of the explosion of production that we saw last year. If you want to take Jacoby Myers as what you believe to be the wide receiver 1 for this team, I won't be mad at it because, you certainly have the narrative of him fully adjusting to this offense after being traded for midseason versus a guy like Parker who was there the entire season under Liam Cohen. But what I cannot do is ignore what Parker Washington did to close out the season. And I don't know if people quite remember or realize what he did, Pat, including their playoff game, 3 of the last 4 games for the Jags, Parker Washington went over 100 yards. The one game he didn't, he had 87 yards, 5 catches and a touchdown in that game. So we're talking about lines of 6 catches for 145 and a touchdown against the Broncos, 8 catches for 115 against the Colts, 5 catches for 87 and a touchdown against the Titans, and then in the playoffs against the Bills, 7 catches for 107 and a touchdown. And knowing all of that, we are talking about a guy who is going 95th overall in consensus rankings, a guy who was consistently ripping off 100-yard games. I don't know where the disconnect is with this, if it's a remaining faith in Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, Thomas is 90th in Fantasy Pros consensus rankings right now, so he's not exactly being considered, anything close to what he was last year anyway. So I don't know if it's just a nervousness, a hesitation, a refusal to buy into what we saw last year, but I am of the belief that when a team shows you what they want to do, believe them. Nothing has changed to this Jags offense from those last 4 games. They've done nothing, except for the fact that I guess Travis Hunter is going to be healthy, and however much he's going to play receiver could dig into this a little bit. But Parker Washington emerged last year, and it's like people are pretending he didn't. So I'm going with Parker Washington. I see, 95th overall, man. That is, we're talking 8th round or so. Plug him into my flex, and I am going to be giddy. Giddy up. Give me Parker
Hopefully not
Washington.
Josh Giddey.
Not Josh Giddey. No. Parker
The
Washington.
Gibbler. See, I was not thinking that. I was thinking if there would be any pass catcher that I would take from the Jags, it would have been my boy Brenton Strange, who looked very good last year when healthy. I'm not going to pick him right now, but that's why Parker Washington was not somebody that was necessarily on my radar. I'm going to go with a guy here. Is it possible to call this guy a breakout candidate when, for all intents and purposes, he's just been a big old bust?
I mean, yeah, if you think he's going to break out instead of busting now, he's breaking out from bust jail.
This guy has a completely new situation. It's Marvin Harrison Jr.
Wow.
He is now. The biggest difference here for me is that, for whatever fucking reason, Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing fucking hated him. And maybe it was for good reason. This will kind of be the time now to find out, did they really hate him for a good reason, or were they just fucking stupid? I tend to think it's the latter. You've got Jacoby Brissett. You've got a Michael LaFleur offense. A McVay disciple, a LaFleur disciple, for God's sake, and a Shanahan disciple. Marvin Harrison should be a better player than Michael Wilson, in theory. He's not going to be a better player than Trey McBride, but you'd think in this Cardinals offense, under LaFleur, there should be a chance where both McBride and a wide receiver can thrive in that situation. And we're getting a guy who was an insane talent. And his ranking now has got to pull back up the rankings. Where's he at?
70th.
70th. That's crazy, in my opinion. That's round 7?
Yeah, I mean, let's do math of a 12-team league.
Yeah, 12 times
6th round would create the 72nd pick.
Yeah,
so 72nd pick would be the end of the 6th round.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it might be appropriate where to pick him, but he could be one of those guys that we're looking at the end of the year, and it's just like, duh. But we could also be looking at it and say this guy is completely dust.
I think, look, I respect the choice because it's not even something I've thought about.
I see, that was the one I was like, man, I got a big brain pick.
Yeah, well, it's just, you do have the impact of it being a totally new offense, and when you have a player who's disappointed and you put him in a new offense, logically, you could at least make the argument that he's going to break out. I think I'm just so fucking out on Marvin Harrison Jr. that I didn't even think about it. But no, I see where you're coming from. It's not one that I'm going to buy into. But if Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be anything close to what he was drafted to be, this is the time to do it. I understand the quarterback situation isn't ideal, so maybe that's not fair to him to give him a make-or-break year with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. But with that said, Michael Wilson was ripping 140-yard fucking games every week. So if you can't figure something out in a new offense, I think you're kind of just a lost cause. But to me, and this is why I'm kind of surprised you went with Marvin, I'm willing to anoint Wilson as the wide receiver 1 of the Cardinals.
It's not impossible. I think it very could well be the case, but again, you look at it from draft capital And talent-wise, in general, it should be Marvin Harrison, but it may not be.
It's make or break. It's make or break for Marvin. I am just not willing to have him break on my team.
Like,
I see what you're talking
is this a
about.
thing where it's like Brissett and Wilson are completely locked in as like a duo, or was that just the case of the offense last year? And you've got a lot of tabs open on your phone too. That gave me anxiety.
I have a lot of tabs. These are my notes.
No. But like you got
Only
a lot
a
of
few.
Oh my god!
This isn't that many.
It's like 10. I have 0 open at all times.
This is just what I was on this morning. I don't know. I clear my tabs pretty often.
This is your Capital One button, by the way.
No, that's my credit card.
Or like I said, or if LaFleur can come in here and truly bring out the greatness that we know Marvin Harrison can do it in terms of talent. I mean, we saw it in extreme flashes.
We know he can do it in college if he wants to go back to Ohio
State. We saw some extreme
State.
flashes in his rookie. Do you have eligibility left? He has some extreme flashes in his rookie year. So, again, I don't think this is the conventional breakout choice because I think we're kind of done on him.
Yeah,
but I think, again, we could be looking at this at the end of the year and just being like, wow. Like, kind of like maybe like the Chris Olave of last year, a guy who, like, we knew the talent was there, we knew it was there, but there are reasons why we weren't in on him, and he turned out to be great. Again, he could also be fucking terrible, and someone that we think about, like, I don't even know who you would equate him to in this situation. Justin Blackmon without the DUIs?
Corey Davis.
No, he can't be that bad.
What do you mean he's been that bad?
Corey Davis was
Corey Davis was not an immediate bust. Corey Davis was all right.
Davis.
890. So look, the rookie year I think he was hurt, but then sophomore 891 and 4 touchdowns, 984 with the Titans in 2020. I don't think Marvin's been close to 1,000 yards yet, so he's on this fucking track. Trust me.
I guess I'm going with the names there because Corey Davis was just not very good.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Or not
fucking
bio.
stats. God damn it. 885 yards and 608 yards.
Okay, so
Corey Davis is
track. Okay.
Corey Davis trending better. So yeah, we'll see if Marvin Harrison Jr. can get off the Corey Davis track.
Mike Williams is a good one, I would say too, a top 10 receiver. But Williams was more one-dimensional and got hurt too much.
Well, not only that, but like I also in my head I'm like Mike Williams was more useful.
He had 2,000 yards.
He was more useful because he was a guy that at least you could rely on when he was healthy to do that. He was a guy who was prototypical but limited big body X receiver, go get the jump ball. He was a jump ball demon. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a nothing demon.
That's what I mean.
He's
Mike
a nothing
Williams
demon.
Was very good at one thing, and that's fair.
Yeah.
That's
so
fair.
no, I like the pick though because you have to go off the beaten path with these because otherwise, you guys out there are going to be reading and seeing these breakout articles all off season long, and let me tell you, all of them are going to have Bashal Tootin and Colston Loveland in them. Every single one. So it is fair to go off the board and go with the guys that are actually considered gross at this point because inevitably at least one of them is going to become a thing. Back
to you.
Back to me. Next in the breakout players draft.
Slang me.
I am going to go. This one I'm a little more. I don't know. Who do I want to prioritize here? All right, I am going to go with kind of a similar-ish narrative to Parker Washington. It's not time for Pepsi. It's time for Coker. We are going Jalen Coker, Cokeheads, unite, baby. All right, Jalen Coker.
Donuts. Mermaid Man and Parker.
Jalen Coker's another guy that it's like, I don't know if people quite realize how good he was down the stretch last year because the stretch is what you want to pay attention to. He got more acclimated into the offense, and these numbers are not going to blow you away the way Parker Washington's did. But last regular season game, 6 catches, 47 yards, 1 touchdown. Playoff game against the Rams, though, was the big sort of breakout performance for him. 9 catches, 134, and a touchdown. Now, look, I am not going to go too far with this because it does give me slight Gabe Davis vibes of
potentially
Gabe Davis in that one playoff game basically convinced me to love him because he had 4 touchdowns. This was a huge playoff game from Jalen Coker, by far his best game of the season. But this was a prospect you and I have already liked. This was a guy that we've talked about as, kind of a sleeper guy on the Panthers. It was just, is he going to be able to take that step and become a reliable piece? Looking at not just that game against the Rams, but the Panthers depth chart and considering them what we think they are in offense ready to take that next step under Bryce Young, under Dave Canales. We think they can at least be a fertile offense for fantasy points. It's Ted McMillan and nobody. And Jalen Coker is I think, primed to take that position. A guy who I think could be a reliable flex week to week as kind of that slot receiver who moves to the outside, just that guy who gives you that reliable little chunk of points on a week to week basis. Xavier Leggett's toast.
I agree.
I think it's just Jover for Xavier Leggett, and I think the Panthers have realized that over the course of last season. And then at tight end, like, I don't think the tight end position is going to take a ton of targets away to prevent a potential Coker breakout.
Or
because
any.
I like Jatavian Sanders as a prospect, but just not a guy who's shown himself to be reliable enough. Tommy Tremble exists. Fucking Felipe Franks.
I just learned that there's a J-A in Jatavian. I thought it was just J apostrophe.
No, yeah, it's Jatavian
So I learned
Sanders.
something today.
You did learn something today. But yeah, Jalen Coker, sort of a mini...
For whatever reason, I just remember that Robert Hunt went to Louisiana Lafayette. Don't ask me why. But.
Just kind of a mini version of Parker Washington in terms of the pedigree, in terms of like the, taking a little bit to like really establish himself. But Cokeheads unite, man. I'm a fucking Cokehead. I'm a Cokehead through and through.
We're a Coke Zero sugar head over here.
Absolutely. Except this Coke's going to get a lot more than zero. He's going to get lots of points.
Okay. What if I told you
No.
I'm sticking with the Carolina Panthers?
Oh, dear. Rawr.
3 years ago,
Uh-huh.
I was not very in on this guy, and I was found right. I hope I'm right again
Oh,
about this.
oh, yeah.
It's Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah! He was on my list, too.
That's a hard
Yeah!
That's why I said don't snap. Alice in the chat said one of you should pick Jonathan Brooks, and I just went, shh, and then he deleted the message. But,
I love it.
Yeah,
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
we clearly just saw Chuba Hubbard be kind of ass.
Mid-ball. Big mid-ball. Big-time mid-ball.
And lost my train of thought. Oh yeah,
That's
and
Chuba
we saw Rico Dowdle just completely
Leave.
be better than him, and then
leave.
leave because he knew how much better he was than him, and that they weren't using him as such. Again, I liked Hubbard over him in that year just because I didn't believe in the health. It wasn't that I didn't believe in Jonathan Brooks. It was just like people say he may come back week 8 or whatever. It's like that's not good enough. That's good enough. Okay, I love that. Love that fucking chat question, by the way.
It's the latter, Silver.
We'll get to that one later, Silver. Fabulous question, by the way. What were we talking? Jonathan Brooks. But now he has, torn another ACL and is now coming back again. Talk about make or break. This guy just might be dust.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of opportunity there. And if we're talking running backs, there aren't a lot of running backs that fit this moniker here. So, I love him. 139 overall, RB47. I think that's a phenomenal later round pick, whether you have Chuba Hubbard or not.
Which is interesting because I swear to God I remember seeing Jonathan Brooks in like the 70s somewhere and being like, man, I guess I'm really not going to get him at a discount, even though it feels like I should be able to. Let me see. I don't care about fucking Eric Carabel's top 200. I just want to say, all right, whatever. I guess
That's my colleague.
he's a dork and I hate him.
Kind of is. I don't hate him.
All right, well, either way, the consensus ranks, I have Jonathan Brooks at 139. Let's just add this. 139. So that is definitely a value there because you talk about guys who have the potential to take over the RB1 job. You don't see many of them in this range of the draft. You see basically zero.
I think out of all of the straight up backups, he might have the best chance.
Yeah.
We may talk about one other person who you kind of just scrolled by might get drafted in this. Mm-hmm. But besides that, I wanted to make sure I got him because I figured you would too. Yeah,
I think looking at him, the only backs even in his range that have the chance to be the RB1 for their team, Chris Rodriguez has a chance, is ranked right near him. Despite the Bashal Tutin, rant that I had, it's still true that Rodriguez has a chance to be the one. But the guys behind Brooks, Tyjae Spears, assuming all health, Tyjae Spears does not have a chance. Dylan Sampson does not have a chance. Alvin Kamara does not have a chance. Isaiah Pacheco, Jonah Coleman's
the first guy behind him, but he doesn't qualify for this because he's a rookie.
Right, exactly. But even then, much rather take the bet on Brooks. No. He could certainly be involved. He's not taking Hampton's job.
Jim.
He's not taking Hampton's job. What did they even sign him for? $0 and an acorn?
Well, because he hasn't done anything yet.
Keaton Mitchell, 2-year,
That's actually
$9.25.
a lot for what he's done, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
But no, it'll be
$4.7
fun,
million.
but-
Yeah, no, I'm excited for him, but he's not.
He's not going to take it outright.
No.
He'll have. I think of these guys, he'll have the biggest role from day one.
Sure, I could see
But
that.
yeah, taking it from him.
I could
All
see
right,
that.
so back to you.
Back to me. Okay, my next pick is going to be another receiver.
God damn it! Someone said, "Why do you think he had to get back surgery?" Jesus Christ!
Got that
that's
shit blown
good.
out.
That is good, man.
All right, I'm going to go with another receiver. I am going to go with Jaden Higgins of the Houston Texans.
Ooh, that's a fun pick.
This is strictly a bet on CJ Stroud getting his shit together, because if CJ Stroud gets his shit together, you're looking at the clear wide receiver 2 for this team. I mean, I want Tank Dell to get healthy, but that's just not something I'm banking on Tank Dell becoming the full-time player over Jaden Higgins. I could see him being a contributor. I could see him being on the field, hopefully getting back to a little bit of his old self. But Jaden Higgins, I think, is primed to be the full-time wide receiver 2 for this team. He started to emerge a little bit last year. And the main point here is just that starting receiver in 2 receiver sets. What the hell? Where is he not? Hello?
Are you on running backs?
Oh, I'm on running backs. Thank you. I was looking for his ranking, and he just wasn't showing up.
He blows.
He's
That's how good you can get him at.
outside the
Outside
top
the top
200. It's T. Higgins. So Jaden Higgins is at 121st overall. It's a cheap gamble that CJ Stroud figures it the fuck out. We've seen the talent from Stroud in the past, and this is just the guy next to Nico Collins without an interesting tight end. Fuck Dalton Schultz. I don't give a fuck about
Dalton
him.
Schultz is a guy that you know what you're gonna get.
You're getting mediocrity even if CJ Stroud is good. So Jaden Higgins, this just reminds me of like a mini version of the Nico Collins bet from 2 years ago when Stroud had that huge rookie year, led Nico Collins to greatness. It's a diet version of that because you're getting the wide receiver 2 version of that. So I just think him around this range is a good bet for a breakout.
I like
So
that
I'll
a
go
lot.
Jaden
Definitely
Higgins.
like him better than Jalen Noel because Higgins is just a big boy.
Yeah,
who's-
big boy.
Can beat a guy one-on-one, beat off a guy one-on-one.
Yep, yep,
Maybe
yep.
I'm gay, but yeah. So I like. He was not someone on my list, but I like that a lot.
All right, who you got?
All right, so I kind of did. I didn't do this on purpose, but I have a running back, I have a receiver, and I have a tight end.
All right, I would say for the sake of our last 2 segments, let's make this the last pick. So make it a good one.
Yep.
Make it a good one.
I'm going to go with the signal caller here. I like the possibility of Cam Ward having a big year 2 breakout. I think Malik Willis has a chance to prove that he was worth the money. I'm going Tyler Shuck.
Okay. Yeah. Very popular one,
He
but fair.
I think he is the biggest breakout quarterback candidate in the sense that he looked great in his 30-year-old rookie season last year. And the funny thing is, because you could say, like, oh, the age makes you a bad prospect, makes you a little more NFL ready. And we saw it. He got thrown in there. There was no turning back. And I know you and I both like the Saints very much from a fantasy and real-life point going forward here. I think Kellen Moore's going to do wonders for that offense. You bring in Jordan Tyson. You bring in Travis Etienne. You know, you still have Alvin Kamara as your safety blanket. Chris Olave, Jawan Johnson. They've got a ton of options there for him. And, you know, not only do I think he elevates those players, I think he has a chance where he is, a streaming candidate on a weekly basis. At the end of the year, he wasn't even a streaming candidate. He was just a guy you had in your lineup in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good he was.
This year, I think, as much as any, is shaping up to be, and I do this anyway, but a wait on quarterback year. Again, I think there's so many good bets late that it's just there's not much of a reason. And look, that's not to say if you draft Josh Allen, you're going to be unhappy, but it's how I felt last year with getting Drake May, and it worked out. This year, there's so many good quarterbacks late that are good bets. Tyler Shuck. I mean, I like Kyler Murray as a late bet in the Vikings offense.
Hard to call it a breakout, but
not one to give like the full keys to for your fantasy team. But if you draft 2 quarterbacks, I think one of them will work out. It's kind of been the meta the last few years, and I think it's going to continue.
Yeah, I just think Shuck over the likes of Ward and who the fuck else did I say? Oh, Willis is just in the best offense. He is in the offense that gives him the best chance.
I'm definitely more confident in
be
Shuck
an
than those
impactful
guys.
player. All right.
Yeah. Alrighty, that'll do it for our draft. I've got Bashal Tootin, Parker Washington, Jalen Coker, and Jaden Higgins. Pat has Colston Loveland, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jonathan Brooks, Tyler Shuck. Honorable mentions to the guys I did not draft but were on my board.
Let's see here.
Roma Dunze, Josh Downs, Isaiah Likely, and that's it. Those are the only guys
Yeah,
I
I've got
actually
Josh Downs, Isaiah Likely, and if I had a 5th pick, I likely would have picked Trey Tucker.
I like that. All right. let's get into our last two segments here for the last half hour of our show. We've got I'm doing a blind ranking that Pat
You want to go first, or
let's do that one first. I'm doing a blind ranking that Pat's put together, and then Pat's going to do a keep 3 cut 5 that I put together. I don't know exactly what this is going to be.
So
I have already pre-set up this. This only has 5, but for the graphics, we've got the blind ranking, so you guys can actually see as we go.
What's happening here?
So
basically, it started last week. I said it's going to be anything, but that's just too difficult to narrow down. So I had the idea to keep it to sports. And what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to explicitly tell Bran who the player is. I'm going to give a couple hints, and some of them are very obvious who it is, and others could very well be 2 people.
This is definitely an interesting twist on a blind ranking. I'm
And
about it.
And
I'm
it's
about
all
it.
sports. All sports athletes are involved. We got 10 options here. All right, so this first player, NFL running back. You know him personally, and he has something in common with me.
Okay.
This is one where it could be 2 people.
So this is
They happen to be on the screen.
I was going to say, this is either Austin Eckler, and what he has in common with you is that he's bald, or it's Cam Scatterbo, and what he has in common with you is that he's kind of fucking stupid.
CTE, yeah.
So, all right. Either way, like,
I started you off with kind of a softball.
This is kind of a similar-ish range. Obviously, you'd rather have Cam Scatterbo at this stage of his career. But in terms of like the overall spectrum of athletes, they're gonna be kind of similar. But I don't know if you're gonna bring me like heavy hitters. If you're gonna bring me like Josh Allen, Jokic, like these kind of level of athletes, or if it's going to be a bunch of like mid-ball.
This is more so I'm trying to go off this how much you like these people.
How much I like them?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just the ranking of how I would want to put these guys.
Who do you think this is?
Okay, I think it's Scatterbo, and I'm going to put him at 4.
Okay. It is Austin Eckler. That is
all right. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
And just to prove that I'm not like doing this, I have the players in parentheses. I'm not going to pull any fast ones.
Inevitably, I'll get some right, so we'll see. But
right.
I'm okay with Eckler at 4. I love Austin. Austin's given us his time for this podcast.
Twice.
Great prime of his career, incredibly fun to watch. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Former Seton Hall point guard. Does not have a lot of hair. And currently coaches in the Big East.
Okay. It's either Dan Hurley or Shaheen Holloway. Obviously, Dan Hurley I would put at probably 1. Mm-hmm. Shaheen Holloway I could not care any less about. So I would probably put him, maybe because he hasn't done anything wrong, and you're probably going to bring some guys that have done some shit wrong. Maybe I'd put him at like 8 or 9. So let me just gamble that this is... Oh, God, who do I think it's going to be?
Are you going big here?
I'm going to guess that it's Shaheen Holloway and put him at 8.
It is Shaheen Holloway.
Yes, thank God. Thank God.
It is Shaheen Holloway.
Okay. I didn't think you'd give me the obvious one twice in a row, because like Eckler is like
I
the
feel like
one who's
Eckler
got
was
the
the
real
one,
connection, and then Hurley's the one that's got the
I had to give
real.
you somewhere you'd think it'd be the good one to try.
Right.
Okay.
Ridiculous list already.
MLB playoff hero. Injuries cost him his career with the Yankees, and he once lived in central Connecticut.
Okay. Who is a playoff hero? The rest of it made me think Carl Pavano.
I mean, he did win a World Series with the Marlins in 2005 and was a big part of that.
Yankees playoff hero who lived in central Connecticut. I don't think I know that part of who this guy is. Injuries cost him his career.
With the Yankees.
Right. Okay. I don't know who the candidates are.
I guess you gotta play it safe here then.
Shit.
All
right.
I did well here.
Okay. I'll put him at 6 and call it a day. Who is it?
It is current Yankee manager Aaron Boone.
Okay. I didn't know Boone.
He worked for ESPN. He lived in He went to the Southington North opening day.
And who else did you want me to think that was? Pavano. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, 2000. Alex, thank you. 2005 World Series. Marlins won in 2003. Okay. Which one do I want to go with next? Okay. Only 2 guesses for this one.
Okay.
A star tight end from the University of Florida.
Fuck. Okay.
I feel like you just go last.
Oh God! This is Kyle Pitts or Aaron Hernandez.
or Trey Burton.
Both have caused equal damage to the world at large, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I don't fucking like either of these guys. So,
But one for different reasons.
yeah, right. Let me get 10.
Okay.
10. Fuck them.
Now going in at number 10 is Kyle Pitts.
Okay,
Sr.
justified nonetheless. I mean, might not be a murderer, but might have arguably done worse. So,
Okay.
I'm glad with him.
Canadian WWE superstar that died too soon.
These men died for very different reasons.
Very different reasons.
This is Chris Benoit. Fuck. Or Owen Hart. Listen.
This is the bad. This is the only
rough
really
one.
bad one.
This is the rough one. Listen, I've got 9 available. 9. Not JJ McCarthy. As much as Owen Hart was awesome as a wrestler, well respected, all that, I don't really care that much about him. I didn't have like a connection with him. I didn't watch him or anything.
Before your time a little,
so
wasn't it?
yeah, a little bit. So if he's here, that's fine.
Okay.
And if it's Benoit, he needs to be here.
Yep.
So I'm putting him at 9, whoever it is.
Bran, you think Kyle Pitts is worse than mass murderer Chris Benoit?
And yeah. And
All right, so what do we?
not ideal. Folks.
This
Let's
was
be
fucking
let's
nuts.
be realistic.
All right,
That's
so we
not
got
ideal.
1, 2, 3, 5, 7 left here.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
really front loaded this remaining.
Wide receiver, played for the Giants and Ravens. Career was notable for mainly one play.
Odell Beckham or wide receiver for the Giants and I mean, there's 2 different Steve Smiths. They played for different. There's a different guy. So that's not what it's going to be. Unless it's just Steve Smith as an abstract concept. I assume this is Odell because I don't know what other receiver played for both of those teams and is known for one thing. I'm going to assume it's Odell, and I'm going to say 5.
Number 5, Bran, you have David Tyree.
Fuck, he played for the Ravens?
For a year.
Fuck,
he may not
man.
have played much at all.
Fuck him.
Oh, good. Yes.
At least I didn't.
Yes.
I thought about going 3, so I'm glad I didn't go 3, but
Yes.
fuck this motherfucker.
Yes!
Damn it.
Okay.
All right.
An MLB pitcher, noted for being a very good person, who once bled during a playoff game.
Kurt Schilling's a piece of shit.
The noted good person is blatant sarcasm.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Kurt. Who else bled? Kurt Schilling or
I'll just say a drone incident made this player bleed.
a drone incident?
Before.
Oh no. I don't know. I'm gonna say 7 and keep the top
Number
3
7
alive.
is Trevor Bauer.
Okay, I mean he probably belongs there. I mean,
He does not belong above Shaheen Holloway.
well, no, but in relative to the spots we have open.
Okay. I think you're going to like where you're at.
Okay, backloaded a little bit.
NASCAR driver that misunderstood the entire concept of the sport by turning a hard right at the 2001 Daytona 500.
Is this Dale Earnhardt Sr.?
I don't know.
It has to be, right?
So where are you putting him?
It's only right to put him at 3 if it's him.
Oh, you're right. It is Dale Earnhardt Sr. Get him in there.
Okay, I mean, that's... Yeah, okay, Dale Earnhardt Sr. This list is outrageous.
So these last 2 here are pretty good. Okay. A player selected in the first round of the NBA draft that was involved on a draft night trade between the Nuggets and Jazz.
All right.
So he was either drafted by the Jazz and sent to the Nuggets or vice versa. They never played for the team that drafted them.
Well, the Nuggets did this twice, but both times sending the guy the opposite direction, and it was Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to assume it's Donovan Mitchell. Fuck it, we made it this far. I'll leave 1 open. I'll put him at 2.
Brandon, at number 2, you have Tyler Lydon. I remember vividly the night of that draft. You being we were at our friend Connor's house, And you were furious when they drafted Tyler Lydon. He was technically drafted by the Jazz, and his rights were sent to the Nuggets.
I'll be honest, I didn't. I don't even remember that part.
I'll be honest.
I trust you.
That is the first player I thought of when making this list.
Fantastic. Yeah. The story on Tyler Lydon is this. He played for Syracuse at a time when UConn's rivalry with Syracuse was still very much, at least vaguely, alive. It's kind of died off these last 10 years because we don't play them in a different conference, and they blow. The other part of it is, even at my wee young age, I knew that this guy wasn't going to be fucking good in the NBA. And I was right. So I left the house when this pick was made because it was a draft party and I was, quite frankly, no longer having fun. So, fuck Tyler Lydon. Don't look him up. Even if you do, he's got no highlights, so you won't find much except his wiki page of doom and despair. So, fucking shoot
Bran.
me.
I'm
not happy about this.
You gambled, Bran, and left number 1 open. And you, at number 1, is a player associated with a beefy 5-layer burrito.
You're just not even on the camera right
Oh, whoops. My boobs are. A player affiliated with beefy 5-layer burritos. At number 1, you have Nikola Jokic. He was drafted during a commercial for a beefy 5-layer burrito.
It's for a quesarito.
Are you sure?
Let's be clear. 100%
Okay.
positive. 100% positive.
Okay.
However, that makes up for it a little bit. I'll take that. All right. So it's not perfect, but
You are correct. It is a quesarito.
it's
That's
not
on me.
That's fine.
Beefy
Listen.
5-layer burrito is better than a quesarito, by the way. Don't at me.
Maybe.
So
I mean, looking at this list, like in terms of how I would put them, let's see my ideal order. Right, I've got the right guy at 1.
Of course,
so
yeah.
ultimately, this went fine. 2, I would say Eckler. 3.
I don't know. You got to raise hell orderly and praise Dale quarterly. So
I think 3, I'm leaving Dale. 4, Boone.
Ew.
Well, I don't care about it. 4, Boone, just for doing the stuff he did as a player.
Sure.
5, Holloway.
Yeah, I was going to say Holloway seems like a nice guy.
Holloway. 6, I hate to admit it, Kyle Pitts probably goes at 6.
Good Lord.
7, Bauer.
So
7, Bauer.
Do you hate David Tyree that much?
7, Bauer. 8, Lydon. 9, Tyree. 10, Benoit. Yes, I hate Tyree that much. You know what he did to me.
David Tyree is incredible. Honestly, this is about as like unhinged as I could have made this without like going over the top. You know, like Chris Benoit is terrible, and you know I wanted.
I'm glad I kept him pretty low.
Had you been an Owen Hart stan and been like number 2, and it's just fucking Chris Benoit.
Yeah, no. Thankfully, I don't have that.
So,
you could have just said like Canadian wrestler. And I would have been like, oh, fuck. Like, Edge was awesome. I love Edge. Chris Jericho was awesome. There's so many Canadian wrestlers.
I wanted you to know
I would have assumed that this was in play.
I wanted you to know it was either Benoit or Owen Hart.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So, because, you know, like, I could have had Aaron Hernandez. I could have had Kurt Schilling. I could have had Dan Hurley, Carl Pavano.
Right.
I guess Odell. I didn't even really think of Odell for that one. Dale Earnhardt, I guess other drivers have died by hooking a hard right, but
not in that one race.
No, not in the 2001 Daytona 500. All right, so this was fantastic. I had a blast.
This was great. All right,
can't wait to TikTok this one.
I've got a little bit more of a traditional one for Pat, although it's still one that it's like, let's see if he gets the fucking ranking right. It is more football related. We are doing keep 3, cut 5. Hypothetical quarterback receiver duos. So This is going to be a quarterback mixed with a receiver. How much you like that duo? How good you think that duo would be? So that's all this is.
And it's right now.
It is right now.
If you were to put these people,
yes, today,
right
2026 NFL season. So cut 5 quarterback receiver duos. Okay. Starting off with Tua Tagovailoa and Puka Nacua.
Oh, no. The thing is that Puka is like the perfect wide receiver to put with some ass quarterback like Tua. Because Tua just needs a guy that he can get the ball to that's standing 10 feet away from him.
Right.
I'm keeping this.
You're keeping
I'm keeping this just because we always talked about like what would Tua do in like a Shanahan or in a McVay offense, and I think he would be serviceable.
Okay. Yeah.
I really do.
I mean, this is interesting because like
Puka carries very hard.
Of course. But that's the thing. A lot of these duos are probably going to be one guy carrying. So it's going to be interesting. You know, you got to catch a vibe for what this list is going to be. Or am I going to bring a Cade Klubnik and Tyquan Thornton? You know, you don't know.
Brady Cook.
Fake AI name. All right, we are keeping Tua Tagovailoa and Puka Nacua. Next up, you have Matthew Stafford and Luke McCaffrey.
Cut. McCaffrey's ass.
Luke McCaffrey's not
not
we've
seen
good.
Matthew Stafford not do things with mid wide receivers like Kyle Whittington, or was that his name? Jordan Jesus
Whittington.
Christ,
Jordan.
who the fuck is Kyle?
Isn't Kyle Whittingham a thing?
That was Utah. That's Michigan's coach. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I did. Okay, so I'm pretty confident in it. It's just that I think you're going to go with come with some better options.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have Lamar Jackson and Wan'Dale Robinson.
This one's interesting because you see, I don't think Wan'Dale is necessarily the kind of guy Lamar thrives off of. Because like Tua thrives off of that. Other quarterbacks who running that kind of offense, I wouldn't see Lamar necessarily being this stud. Well, I mean, he would be because he's Lamar Jackson. But I don't see him as the model quarterback for one of those kinds of offenses.
Zay Flowers is like if you gave Wan'Dale Robinson super serum.
I was going to say, if you gave him speed.
This is like a very muted version.
And it's to keep 3, cut 5. I'm cutting this.
Okay, I think that's humbly. I think that's the right call.
But I don't hate it. I thought about it. The last one I didn't. I'd rather have this than the last one, than the Stafford and McCaffrey.
Understandable. All right, next up, you have Josh Allen and Nick Westbrook-Akine.
God damn it.
Keep in mind, every quarterback and receiver only shows up once. So I'm not bringing Josh Allen and Jamar Chase later.
I'm keeping this.
You're keeping
Because I can just see Josh being like, fuck it, Nick down there somewhere. And there might not be anyone better in the league to be that guy that's just standing in the end zone 50 yards down the field than Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Okay. All right, next up, I'll be curious if you keep this.
That's what I mean. It's tough here.
If you're going to have a regret on cutting this one, Cam Ward and Jamar Chase.
Oh, man. Just for the sake of the exercise, I have to cut it.
Okay.
I'll go with that.
That's fair.
Don't hate it. I mean, we'll see which one I end up keeping. I just think the other two hypothetically would work very well. Obviously, Jamar Chase is possibly the best wide receiver in the league, and I do like a Cam Ward year 2 breakout.
Yep.
So that's a tough cut, but okay.
All right. Next up, this one is I feel like this is somehow the most random pair I put together, but both players are good. Okay. Caleb Williams and Devontae Adams.
Oh, man. I might have to do it for the sake of the exercise again.
Cut?
I'm going to cut it.
Okay.
But I don't want to. That's a good... Caleb hasn't really had a Devontae Adams on his team. I mean, he had a 100-year-old Keenan Allen, which I guess would be the similar archetype, but very different. That is a great pairing, but I want to keep open.
All right. You've got one cut left and one keep left. Next, I think you'll like this better than the one I just gave you. Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes and Nico Collins.
I have to keep that. Imagine we glaze Nico Collins like crazy. It's like, if CJ Stroud gets his shit together.
Yeah.
Mahomes has not really had much of a Nico Collins in that sense because it's just Tyreek, but to have a guy that's so reliable like that, I can't do it.
Well, sadly, you fell into the bear trap because your final cut is Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson.
Dear God.
So, yeah, that was the road I could tell you were heading down once you kept Allen and Akine. I was like, you could survive Tua and Puka.
Yeah.
You could survive cutting that one. Once you kept the other one, I was like, he's not going to have the willpower.
If I were to change this, I would swap out Allen and Westbrook-Akine for Joe Burrow. That's what I would do. Because, like I said, I think the Tua and Puka pairing is just perfect.
It's
just a match made in heaven. Genuinely.
So you'd keep Tua and Puka over Caleb and Devontae and Cam Ward and Jamar Chase.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think that...
Interesting.
I think Puka would catch 15 passes for 200 yards
probably
and 2 touchdowns every game.
That's probably
because
true.
Tua could chuck it to him if he's out there, and he's just anywhere in the field at all times. And Yeah, I do like Mahomes better than the other two, Williams and Adams. Again, you're just getting, very established guys, but that was tough. Oh, that was tough.
That was fun.
I went into the I fell into the Nick Westbrook Akine trap.
Yeah, I thought you would regret the Tua one more. Not more than Allen and
No,
Westbrook
I really like that
but,
one. I genuinely
I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. It's just when you look at this list, like Tua is so clearly the worst quarterback of these 8.
Oh, no question.
Other than maybe Cam Ward if he takes 0 steps forward ever. But hey, I don't blame you. Puka, I've said it many times, I think is the best overall receiver in football. So if you're keeping him, kind of doesn't matter if I'm throwing to him or if you're throwing to him or if Tua's throwing to him. Those are kind of all on the same level, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
So, all right, that'll do it for our Keep 3, Cut 5. And that'll do it for this episode of Brand Coverage before we get to our viewer questions, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. This was a fun show.
This was a blast.
Expect more goonery like this throughout the rest of the offseason.
Traditional goon definition.
This is no. All definitions of gooning. Expect more of this as the offseason goes on because we have to get in our creativity bag to get.
I was
through
looking, and
the
it seems
off-season.
like our division previews will start second or third week of July.
That tracks.
Depends if
That
we
tracks.
want to give a couple weeks in between those and the
Yeah.
actual start of the year. So maybe like July 9th will be when those come out.
Yeah,
so we
so
got almost 2
We got
months.
like
of
7 or
bullshit.
8 shows of just shenanigans and buffoonery. But thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to get to our viewer questions for those of you tuning in live on YouTube. We are here live on YouTube every Tuesday or Wednesday. Honestly, you just got to keep tabs with the social media to figure it out. Generally, it's Wednesday during the off season, but you never know. 10 a.m. Eastern, we answer the viewer questions around 11:30. So if you are listening on Spotify, join us live one of these days. We appreciate you guys. But that's the intro again. Where's the outro? I know it's in here. Hold on. Why do I always lose it? There it is. For Pat Gustafson, I'm Brandon Carney, and we will see you guys next time.
Rip Brandon Clark and Jason Collins. Bye-bye.
All right, viewers, let's get to your questions.
There were some good ones.
I saw some good ones.
I saw
popping
one in particular.
All right, let me jump in here so I can
Testing the speaker on StreamYard.
Streamlabs.
Streamlabs. Seems like it's working.
Labs. I gotta make pee. Okay.
I am pretty thirsty, so I guess we could both solve our issues.
I think you'll have to pay extra for that. All right, let me get this off the screen. Jesus. Okay. DaTrain24 with $4.99 said Ty Simpson being happy to be Stafford's backup cracked me up so loud. I know that's not this video, but I just watched it. Thanks for the laugh.
What did you say? It was the herky jerky or something? What did you call it?
Grippy McTwist.
Herky McTwist is crazy. When I think of Matt Stafford's wife, I just think of that video of that woman like falling off a stage and breaking her back, and Matthew just doing absolutely nothing and just turning around and walking away.
Not his problem. But yes, glad you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much. Silver with $10. Thanks, man. Thank you, man. Said, after a promising season was derailed by injuries, feels like people are counting Green Bay out this season. Is it simply due to how well-rounded the NFC North is, the main division where it feels like anyone could win it? Yeah, I think it's mostly the division.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's also that you look at all the other teams in the division, and I think when it comes to predicting who's going to win, the other teams just have a lot more to latch onto. It doesn't mean that they're better. It means that they are more flashy, more fun picks at this point in the season. The Packers, all they did this offseason was lose things. And, I mean, they weren't anything major necessarily. Lose Romeo Dobbs, trade away Dontavian Wicks,
who's
trade
Jordan
away...
Love going to take a bath with now?
I know. Trade away Rashawn Gary. Like, they did all these things. And that was after a season where they missed the playoffs. So it's like, why would you project them to win the division when you've got a team like the Bears who, they jump onto the scene last year. Seems like things are only going to get better, even though the schedule's going to get tougher because now they've proved themselves a little bit. The Lions, they were kind of just a sleeping giant of like, we just are hoping their line gets better, but we know how good they're supposed to be. And then the Vikings, talked about it a million times. Kyler Murray, I think, buys them at least 2 or 3 more wins compared to what they had last year, and they still had 9 last year. So
Yeah.
not
I just think the
J.J.
Packers
McCarthy,
might be the
but-
most volatile team of that bunch because, like you said, derailed by injuries. It feels like that's the team that would break down the quickest if derailed by injuries. And, yeah, I don't necessarily think they're going to be bad. I mean, they've got a hell of a division schedule to play.
Yeah.
And we'll see the full one tomorrow, obviously. And, yeah, I guess I don't dislike the Packers this year, but it's where we're at.
No, I mean, I don't think anybody's, I would hope, isn't ruling them out or counting them out. It's just they're not They're not the team would be driving discussion at this point in the offseason. They're just not. But they have as good a chance to win the division as any. Very tightly contested one. Silver with $5 said, as a gay man, I can't figure out if Pat is gay or just confident enough in his sexuality to make self-deprecating gay jokes.
I will be very honest here. I'm not gay. I'm just a little gay.
I think that really says it
I'm
all.
not gay.
I think
I am not gay. I guess I'm just confident in my lack of sexuality in terms of the fact that I don't think I'll ever feel the touch of a woman again. And I genuinely like to confuse people. Yeah, like I confused the hell out of my own mother a couple weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, it's just tough being gay as fuck out here. And she's like, what? And I'm like, what? You know, it's just, I like to confuse people. But no, in fact, no, I am not. Will I stop making those kinds of jokes? No.
Next step in the bit is to get your right ear pierced. All right, Jake with $10.
And get fucked in the ass.
That would be a great prank. Jake with $10 said, why can't my Saints catch a break? Jordan Tyson doesn't show up for rookie camp. Kristen Miller has reports of being on weed.
Stay off. We may have to redo that Stephen A. one that got lost to time. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. We did a Stephen A.
The
soundbite draft,
horrible, yeah.
and the audio was so bad we had to scrap it.
Yeah, let's do it again.
What would you do if you were the Saints GM? I'm not worried about it, man. This is, again, remember how quiet of a time of the offseason this is? Don't get worked up about a rookie not showing up to rookie camp because of a minor injury. Like, if he doesn't show up to regular camp, I'll start to be worried. But I don't think you miss out on a ton by missing this part of the offseason. So whatever he's dealing with, I think it's minor. I wouldn't worry about it. I did not hear about this weed thing.
Stay off the weed.
I mean, truthfully, I didn't even know the name of the guy you mentioned, and that makes sense because he was a second-round pick this year.
Early second-round pick, though, no?
Yeah, early second round, 42nd overall. I'm just, I'm not defense pilled, so I wasn't aware. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Weed is weed. It'll pass. Like, it's not a big deal.
Worse things you can do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think. What would I do if I was the GM? Nothing. Let it go. It's no big deal. But I understand. It's your team. You're going to be hyper critical, hyper worried, just as I am of Mike Vrabel fucking reporters. Random guy with $4.99.
Wait, you did what?
Oh yeah. It's little. You might have missed it. I mean, it hasn't really dominated news cycles for the last 3 weeks or anything. Okay. Random guy with $4.99 said, love the pod, guys. Been listening for about a year. You guys inspired me to make my own fantasy YouTube content. You guys are the GOATs. You're the GOAT, random guy, dropping in and giving us money for inspiring you. You're welcome. I'm glad we could inspire you to do that. Good luck on your YouTube journey. I wish you the best. I'll have to check out your stuff.
I usually just inspire people to do the opposite.
Yeah, Pat inspires people to give up.
Man, if it's as bad as this guy, I gotta give up.
Plagues V2 with $9.99 said Will Howard QB1. Love the podcast. Will Howard! Oh God!
Yeah, Howard D's nuts tasting in your mouth.
I will find out Howard D's nuts tasting in my mouth when he's not starting. Also, fun fact, during the show, I got a notification that Drew Aller was told to forget everything he's learned. That was the first thing he was told in Steelers camp. So if you're wondering if that's
someone
going well,
had told that to a other certain Penn. Wait, is he not Penn State?
He is Penn State.
It was going to be a Jerry Sandusky joke.
Okay,
but
yeah,
I bailed mid joke.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Bit of a stretch. What else we got here? Alex with $4.99 said, fuck, marry, kill. Joe Mixon, Asante Samuel Sr., the guy who took off his clothes on I-84. So the funny part...
First of all, Alex is in our Southington Talks page, despite living in Ohio. I mean, there is a Southington in Ohio.
That he doesn't live in.
So I get he may want to. Alex, how far are you from Southington, Ohio? I think Alex is from the Dayton area, just to expose, Alex's whole life.
Yeah,
but yeah, but that's what you get for being on our turf. A guy was just trying to open car doors on the highway and was taking his clothes off.
I thought this was America. I thought this was America. Your mom and I have
beef again because she. Well, it didn't happen, but she's like, when everyone says like, "Oh, why were there sirens here?" and people just comment, "Must be an emergency." She goes, "If you comment an emergency, it'll be deleted." Stay out of people's business. If that's how my sister found out my grandfather died, was on Southington Talks.
How about
a woman basically said, "What is there an ambulance doing at this exact coordinates where my grandparents live?"
How about these,
and he died.
How about these lifeless chuds don't go asking on a Facebook page every time they hear a fucking siren?
It's
mind your own business.
It's none of your fucking business.
Did anybody hear that loud noise outside? I want to make sure it's not illegal.
Might have been gunshots. It's like you live in the most suburban area.
There's this guy on TikTok that makes fun of those, like, just
those
types of pages. It's really good. There was one, it was like on the 4th of July. It's like, just heard a loud bang. Is anyone going to do anything about this? Just wondering if anyone's going to do anything about this. It's like, no! There's loud noises sometimes.
So, Tam, if people want to comment that, they should, because people asking about sirens are just, like, fucking rude, because unless it's, like, a fire or there is a genuine threat to the community, like if the cops are chasing a naked guy on I-84, yeah, we need to know that. If you see an ambulance, it's none of your fucking business. It's none of your fucking business.
Alex said he's 4 hours from
So
Southern
it makes sense that you're Southern. Oh, small town Facebook groups, dude. I've had an absolute blast in that group. My go-to is talking about my wife's boyfriend, and people just be like, "Your wife's what?" And I'm like, "What?" That's my go-to in there. I'll be like, "Oh, my wife's boyfriend loves the cranberry chicken." Grandma's like, "People are gonna believe you." I go, "Grandma, no one's gonna think I have a wife."
To address Alex's question, this is an interesting one for me personally because little known fact, Asante Samuel Sr. was like my first favorite player in the NFL. Like
was his time.
when I first started watching football, that was the guy that like I loved. However, he's fucking crazy now, so like I don't really know where to rectify that. I mean,
so I'm not marrying him because he's gonna cheat. He's
crazy.
Piece. So we're fucking Asante.
We'll fuck Asante Samuel.
I'll be a side piece. I'm gonna marry the guy who took his clothes off on I-84 because one day he'll get shot by a cop and I'll get all his money. And then Joe Mixon beats women. So see ya.
Won't beat us.
Why not?
We're not women.
So maybe.
Well, when I put one of my wigs on, he might get confused.
Maybe he doesn't discriminate.
So,
yeah.
All right.
That's the end of the dono questions, but we got a good question here from John Wall. Maybe it's John Wall. Most smoochable quarterback. Obvious answer is Caleb Williams.
Drake May! Because he's just a cutie patootie. I'm going with Drake May. Man, that 2023 quarterback class is just smoochable as fuck.
A couple guys that were in my sister's high school
2024
posted on my hometown group that they were putting litter boxes in the school bathroom. And the thing is people ran with that.
People believe
Tony
that, yeah.
Dungy said, quoted that, saying, "Oh, they're putting litter boxes in schools that kids identify as cats." Tony Dungy. I read Tony Dungy's books. There's something I could say about Tony Dungy that I'm not going to say. Because it is a little over the top. But just look up his son.
The picture of him where it looks like he and Tom Brady are going to steal your soul is really funny. Drake May is correct. I agree. Let's see. If we got any other questions, feel free to fire them in there. We got like 5 more minutes here on the old streamy weenie. Guys, I'm starting to believe that Vuebo and Wussini may have done some things.
I can't believe, T, that was the origin of that. They want me to say the bad things about Tony Dungy.
Don't say the bad things.
It's not.
I have no idea.
His son committed suicide, and his son was gay, and Tony Dungy is very religious, and I believe that Tony Dungy did not accept his son for who he was.
I see.
I read his book. He didn't mention that much in his book about...
what a surprise.
Yeah, he mentioned his son passing away very sadly. This was many years ago now at this point. But yeah, Tony Dungy, I used to really look up to the guy. Now I don't.
Joseph Gillespie said, where do you think the best position to draft will be this year in fantasy drafts? It's interesting because I've found myself quite excited about where I'm picking.
I know, you harassed the guy who has the first priority.
That too, because we normally know by now where we're picking.
He notoriously takes forever during the draft. Right. He's gotten better, admittedly.
He's not going to pick until our draft what his draft
in the last few years with his speed of drafting. So, of course, it's this guy that is... keeping us waiting. But I think we mentioned you and I are 5 and 6 in priority. You're ahead of me. So
I like the early picks because I really love this range of like 21 to 27.
I think I'd like to pick 6th or 7th, which is probably where I'm going to end up picking unless somebody bounces back and we move up a little bit, which is possible. But I like that just because right now the 6th ranked player, Christian McCaffrey, Amon-Ra, then you've got Jonathan Taylor, who was disgusting out there. I mean, Achan's ranked this low, which is crazy to me. And like,
I love Justin Jefferson.
You look in the middle of the second round, we're hoping for a healthy Rashee Rice and a healthy Patrick Mahomes. A healthy Malik Neighbors at 17 could be last year's Devon Achan. I think these rankings will change. But even Chase Brown, Saquon, Almarion Hampton, Kenneth Walker, Olave, those are all guys that I would and you get more of your pick of the litter if you're picking in the middle there at like, and then picking again at like, what's that, like 18, 19.
Yeah, if you're picking early, I mean, the guys that are going at the end of the second round, so 21st to 26th, you've got Omarion Hampton, Brock Bowers, George Pickens, Kenneth Walker, Chris Olave, Josh Allen. I think it's more than reasonable that any of those guys finish as top 5 players at their position. I mean, Bowers is a given, but the other guys, I love that range of guys, and so if you are able to pair 1 or 2 of those guys with your early pick, I think that's preferable. So this year, I mean, I do like the early pick. Kind of the 1 through 5,
Bijan,
which is not always the case.
And Puka, and
crazy
and Jamar Chase and JSN even are just so fucking good. Yeah. They're so fucking good. Like, I think it's going to be a good draft. Definitely at the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's see. Going with Allen at 3. Okay, interesting. Favorite format of fantasy football, fantasy baseball. So I think 12 team is the optimal football league because it's not too hard, but 10 is too easy.
12 team half pooper.
I like full. I personally
half pooper.
I'm a full pooper fan.
You've always been a full pooper.
You know it. Just wait till after the show. Fuck. I'm trying to think in terms of like other gimmicks and whatnot. I don't know. Like I don't love keepers. I don't love multiple flexes or super. I just like your good old standard
classic redraft is the most fun because it's a full reset every year. You got to prove yourself every year that you know what's going on. You know how to draft. It's not just a dynasty league where like yes, there's something to be said for rebuilding a team and managing a dynasty and all that, but it's just if you get to that point where you built a really good team, you're kind of on cruise control after that. And if you're at a point where you have a really bad team, it's not even fun looking forward to the next year. So I like classic redraft 12 team, half pooper for me, full pooper for Pat. Traditional lineups, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex, tight end, 1 quarterback. I could see the argument for super flex. I see the appeal.
Yeah, I've actually never played him.
I see the appeal because quarterback is the most important position, arguably in all of American sports. So there's more responsibility on that position than any other. And yet in fantasy, the position is devalued a bit because you only start 1, so you don't draft them very high. So that would be one.
I will say too, guillotine leagues are phenomenal. The one we do is where we redraft weekly, which is a lot of fun. But even the traditional one where you have your team the whole year and then you get guys who get picked up, and have, you have fab money and spend. I've never been that kind of league. And also our Vampire League was quite a bit of fun.
Vampire League was a lot of fun.
Which in about 2 months from now, I would say we will bring that back to our everyone's attention. Also, kickers and defenses, yes, no. I hate it. I'd say no. I'd add 1 more flex and have a smaller lineup, honestly. Like, it's such a crapshoot, man. And it's just like, I don't know.
I think I agree. If I had my choice, I'd eliminate them. But there's something fun about it, too. I don't know. I see it. I could see it either way. I think there's an element of you kind of want the chaos. And, if you start optimizing too much, it could take some of the whimsy away. But I respect people that don't want it either. All right. I think that'll do it for this episode of Brand Coverage,
also,
folks.
apple juice, not orange juice.
Is that a question?
Orange juice is too acidic for me.
I like orange juice, but I prefer apple juice. Apple juice for sure.
I probably drank like several gallons of apple juice when I was in the hospital for a week.
I want to go to the hospital for a week if I get that much apple juice. All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in to Brand Coverage. For Pat Gustafson, I'm Brandon Klein.